Welcome to K&A Table. My name is Tamara Patience. And as usual, I'm joined by Emmanuel Bosiri, who helps us understand as well as digest what is happening in the political as well as the governance scene in Kenya. So, of course, we've seen a lot happening, starting from the cabinet reshuffles that have recently happened to the security state in Kenya, to still the ongoing bipartisan talks that are happening at the Bomas of Kenya, and also as Kenyans brace themselves towards the El Nino that was predicted for October and November. Yes, that is what is currently happening out here. Now, let's just get into the first agenda of the day. Now, what is happening in Nyanza? What is happening in Sondu? So, of course, we know the president, that is President William Ruto, is going to start his visit in Nyanza, that is, or commence his visit to Nyanza, that is tomorrow, the 6th of October, 2023. And a lot has been happening so far before his visit. One, we start with the unrest as well as the ongoing massacre that is happening in Sondu because of border clashes between Kisumu as well as Kericho. And let us just listen, first of all, to a couple of leaders from Kisumu, and then we'll be right back.
Allow me to say this in English. We have seen a very systematic way of dealing with our people every other time when the president is coming to visit Nyanza. The other day when he was going to visit the PS of Interior, they attacked us at Sondu and killed our people. Now he's coming back to Kisumu again. They have again attacked us and killed our people. And we are saying enough is enough. Allow me to say the following, Mr. President. If you are coming to Kisumu, the first agenda on your table must be how to resolve the issue of Sondu boundary. We know where the boundary is. We are not going to keep quiet when you keep killing our people at Sondu at the pretext that we have infringed on the boundary of Kericho. Now, secondly, we know that you're going to go to Moroni. When you go to Moroni, let us know the fate of the farmers who have been supplying sugarcane and have been paid for all this time. Let us know the fate of those who are working in those factories who have not been paid their salaries and their deductions to NSSF, NHIF, and all the other things. We also want to know the fate of the special economic zone. This was already agreed on by the last regime. You have not allocated any money to be able to do the special economic zone. That is the only project that will transform the economy of Kisumu. We also want to know the fate of Korusoin multipurpose dam, which was already budgeted for, and your government withdrew the budget. And now you are coming to give us a token in the name of, a fish, I don't know which plant in Kabonyo Kanyagwal, costing only 2.5 billion, when you have removed billions and billions of shillings from the budget that was already allocated for the county of Kisumu and for the region. We want to know when you are resuming the construction of the Mamboleo for Tanan Road that was already allocated money. We also want to know what your plan is with the port, and we want to know also when you're going to bring the SGR to Kisumu so that Kisumu can connect to the port of Mombasa, so that the people of Kisumu, who are also Kenyans and who also give, their taxes, can also get jobs and can live just like other Kenyans. And finally, Mr. President, we are tired. Mr. President, we are tired. I mean, we can't keep mourning our people. It is time that you come and have a look yourself. Yeah, you are busy taking policemen to Haiti, and yet in a very small space in Kenya, you cannot keep the security. Even that Haiti nonsense is misplaced, Mr. President.
Yes. Correct. Thank you.
Yes, and before we get into the whole issue regarding Sondu as well as Haiti, Azimiola Umoja also came out with a press statement regarding what is happening at Sondu, obviously calling to the president as well as the current government to, number one, provide aid to those residing in Sondu, as well as to try and assist those who lost their loved ones to conduct the burials that are happening there, as well as to provide maximum security for those specific regions. Of course, in the speech as well as in their press statement, they cited a lot of insecurity in Kenya. Of course, we know it has been a looming issue, not only in Sondu as well as in Lamu, and the northern part of Kenya. So before we get into the questions as well as the demands that Azimio la Umoja has, let's just listen to the press statement that was put earlier on by the coalition, and then we'll be right back.
You understand? Yeah. You come stand here. You ready? You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We have a statement on the issue, on the situation in Sondu market in Nyanza, and also about the Kenyan mission to Haiti. This statement is going to be read on our behalf by Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. Welcome.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. In parts of the country and the mayhem currently underway in Sondu. While the latest eruption of insecurity at the border of Kisumu and Kericho County, where scores of people have been killed and many injured in Sondu, huge sections of the country are actually under siege. Al-Shabaab is having a field day, killing our people, including soldiers in Lamu and in far-flung areas like Wajir and Mandera. Insecurity also continues to rage in sections of the North Rift, causing significant pain and loss of life. Let's make no mistake. The violence and mayhem in Sondu is not an ordinary disagreement between villagers. Big names are behind this violence. They include leaders and politicians from neighboring counties and in the national government. We view these latest incidents in Sondu as part of a long, off-and-on history of violence instigated by politicians who have on numerous occasions incited the different communities against each other, and local leaders who have been implicated in these activities. The apparent bias, indifference, and helplessness of security officers in the area, as violence has raged on, clearly indicate that big names are behind the fighting and the mayhem in Sondu. In particular, we are demanding investigations to be carried out against individuals who have been implicated as sponsors of the violence, who include the Kericho County Governor, Dr. Eric Mutai. These leaders must abandon the expansionist tendency through which they are seeking to extend the boundary of Kericho County with a view of claiming Sondu town. We are convinced that this violence is being sponsored by local politicians who have set their claim on part of Kisumu County during the envisaged boundary review that is coming soon. We strongly condemn the senseless murders prevailing in Sondu. We are also concerned over the mistrust that this violence is breeding between residents that is now taking a political dimension. We wish to assure the innocent residents of Sondu from either side of the border that we are in solidarity with them. We urge the residents to put down their arms and to embrace each other as brothers and sisters who have lived alongside each other for years. We are also appealing to the residents to resist and reject those inciting them to acts of violence and lawlessness that brings no value to the actors and the victims. We are calling on the government to immediately bring the violence to an end and to provide round-the-clock security to the residents of this area. The people behind this violence and mayhem must be identified, arrested, and made to account for their actions. We are concerned over the negative impact of this violence on livelihoods and economic activities in the area. Consequently, we are asking the government to provide support to the families that have been affected by this violence. Such support should include footing the medical bills for those who have sought treatment and helping with burials of those who have lost their dear ones. Beyond Sondu, we are concerned over the increase in terrorist activities in parts of the coast, particularly Lamu, in northeastern. Just about 2 weeks ago, several KDF soldiers aboard a Kenya Air Force chopper died in a crash within the terror-prone Boni Forest in Lamu. We believe this was an Al-Shabaab attack. Attacks by Al-Shabaab militants have become commonplace in Mandera and other parts of northern Kenya, with victims being police officers, teachers, farmers, ordinary residents going about their daily routines. We must never forget that the government has so far failed to address various incidents of insecurity in the North Rift counties of Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Laikipia. In these places, armed groups, bandits, and cattle rustlers continue to conduct raids on neighboring communities, destroy property, and cause massive displacement of people. These attacks are unacceptable and must come to an end. They paint a picture of a nation that is losing the battle to gangs and terrorists. We therefore find it strange, while the country is clearly grappling with internal security problems, the Ruto administration is taking 1,000 police officers to Haiti to fight a war that is not of our own, on a territory that is far away, over 12,000 kilometers from Kenya. We cannot send 1,000 of our young men and women in uniform in harm's way over 12,000 kilometers away without the people of Kenya, through their elected representatives in parliament, having a say as to whether this is in our national strategic security interest or it's motivated by other interests. In this regard, we call upon Parliament to immediately summon the CS of Interior, now that his defense counterpart appeared before the Senate yesterday, and he actually ducked this question. He passed the buck to his Interior counterpart. We want him to explain to Parliament, and by extension the nation, the following issues. 1, why are we sending our officers to Haiti to protect Haitians while the security situation at home is deteriorating and they are unable to protect lives and property of Kenyans in Sondu, in the North Rift, in Northeastern, in Lamu, and at the coast against gangs, cattle rustlers, bandits, and the resurgent Al-Shabaab terrorists who are slaughtering Kenyans day and night? 2, why deploy our police while the issue of Kenyan police brutality, particularly in the recent anti-tax protests, which witnessed excessive use of force, killings, and gross violation of human rights, where 72 Kenyans lost their lives through police bullets, and thousands were wounded, and the matter is still live before the National Dialogue Committee at Bomas, which was sanctioned by Parliament. Some matters are before our courts, And some matters are still being considered by the Police Reform Task Force. 3, won't this be tantamount to exporting police brutality and abuse of human rights to our black Haitian brothers and sisters who are also protesting the illegitimacy of their president, just the way Kenyans were protesting and were clobbered by the same police? 4, Kenya has an impeccable liberation and Pan-Africanist credentials and ties to the liberation movements in the Caribbean and all over the world. Wouldn't sending our officers to Haiti, not at the request of our black Haitian brothers and sisters, but at the request of their president, whose legitimacy has been questioned by his people? Wouldn't sending officers to Haiti taint our Pan-Africanist ties to the Caribbean? Whose heroes? Some of them, when you walk on the streets of Nairobi, we have our roads named after them. Garvey, Du Bois, Makonnen, Padmore. All these were Caribbean leaders who, with our founding fathers, through the liberation movement, had ties. And now we are going to fight other people's wars. 5, are our police, most of whom can't speak French or Creole, which is the local language there, well prepared to undertake this high-risk mission in a completely different terrain? Are they properly prepared to go on this mission? Or is Ruto ready to sacrifice the innocent blood of Kenyans for American dollars or for international recognition? These are questions Kenyans are asking. We are therefore urging that Ruto must stabilize and secure Kenya first before thinking of sending our security people to what clearly looks like a mission impossible in a faraway country with whom we didn't have diplomatic ties until recently. We call on Parliament to demand oversight on this matter with a view of protecting the young men and women in uniform who are about to be taken to Haiti for a war that is not ours, and at a time when we need them back home to take care of their fellow Kenyans. As a country, we are actually under-policed. As you know, the recommended UN ratio, citizen to police ratio, is 1 to 400. In Kenya, we don't have enough police officers. Our ratio is 1 to over 1,000. We have immediate neighbors to Haiti, like America, that has a surplus. We don't even have enough. So these are some of the issues we want the people's representatives to summon the CS and on behalf of the people of Kenya to question the Haiti deal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you have some questions. Yes. Yes, we can take some questions.
Parliament approval. Is it your position that your members in Parliament will be opposing this when it comes before the House?
Well, as you know, generally, deployment of forces outside the borders requires parliamentary approval. As you know, when I was the Prime Minister and we took a decision, the Cabinet, to send our forces to Somalia, I took a motion to Parliament, and it was approved, debated and approved by Parliament. Now, this is a similar case. We are sending out our troops or forces outside our borders. It must be approved by Parliament. Just like the defense treaty that has been signed between our government and the government of the United States must also be taken to Parliament and approved.
Thank you so much, Seth Olale, Citizen TV. Do you think the latest concerns in regards to insecurity is going to have a negative impact or even derail the national dialogue?
Well, the insecurity in the country is a matter of great national concern to everybody. We cannot just sit and watch as innocent Kenyans are being butchered in their homes. You've seen what is happening there in Sondu. Houses being touched, people being burnt inside their homes. This is something that is horrible. And you have not even seen a statement coming from the government. What we are doing here, we are demanding that the government should come clear and make a statement. And even a minister in charge of internal security would have gone to the scene to go and see what is happening. The fact that they are all silent and business as usual tells you that there's something that they know that other Kenyans don't know. This is something that cannot be tolerated. The talks, of course, as you know, have now reached another stage where they are going to now be debating the material that they have before them. So we don't want those talks to be affected by what is happening. But what we are doing is we are calling the government to action. The government is asleep, but Kenya is burning, and this is not right.
I think we are done. Thank you very much for your time. We're sending statements to you shortly. Thank you.
Yes, now that was the press statement by Azimio La Umoja on the current situation at Sondu, as well as the security state of Kenya, as well as the issue of sending 1,000 security officers to Haiti. Now, there are a couple of questions that have been raised here, Emmanuel. And number one on the list is why are we sending, or why is the government sending Kenyan police to protect Asians while the security at home is deteriorating? And I'll pose the same question to you first of all before serikali amwe kutupatia majibu. Why do you think is the main reason as to why, despite whatever is happening in the country, despite the situation at the terror attacks at Lamu, the terror attacks at the northern part of Kenya, Kinawajir, as well as now we are seeing a lot of people being killed in Sondu over border clashes, that we are seeing Kenya deciding to take police officers to Haiti to try and fight the gang Zuko, na huku nyumbani bado nyumba yetu ni chafu.
Thank you, Tamara, for that question. But first I want to answer and say that nyumba yetu si chafu. Kuna nyumba ambazo ni chafu zaidi. Makosa ambayo tunafanya sisi ni kwamba tunafagia nyumba yetu, lakini uchafu tunaweka pale pembeni kwa mlango. Kwa hivyo hiyo nyumba ni chafu kweli?
Chafu kwa mahali bado ni chafu.
Nyumba ni safi.
Hujasafisha 100%.
Umesafisha nyumba, umefagia, lakini uchafu ambao umeweza kufagia unaweka pale pembeni. Ninasema hivi kwa sababu taifa letu la Kenya tunajituma sana kuhakikisha kwamba usalama huu miongoni mwa mambo yale ambayo serikali inataka kuyashughulikia kwa muda wote ule. Lakini unapata kwamba katika sehemu zingine tunafanya kitu inaitwa ignorance. The border crisis ambao we are seeing at Sondu, for example, there's a pure ignorance. The ignorance of our leaders, not national leaders at first, but local leaders. You know, we have governance that follows protocol. We have the chief area chief. We have ACCs. We have the local authorities. So by the time that you reach a point that you want to crash between two different communities, what does the intelligence tell the government? We have the National Intelligence Services. What are their roles? They should have first investigated. What is the main cause that's bringing disunity here? Remember, these crashes are not starting yesterday. They have started long time ago.
No.
But more importantly, they are being dated back to 2013. Then we never had counties. And then we had provinces. Now it was purely Rift Valley province against Nyanza province.
No.
But now at the moment, it has been narrowed down to bring us to counties. Kisumu County and Kericho County.
No.
You see that Kericho County takes more than 90% of the square kilometers of that area of Sondu. So the main thing here, it could be clashes over the Sondu town now itself. This happens to other counties. You know, one of the problems we have is that IBC should be working out to sort out these internal conflicts. We don't want to have internal conflicts at the expense, maybe, caused by IEBC. When you're going out to draw boundaries, and that's your role as a commission, make sure that you bring all your professionalism at work, so as not to allow any room for a little bit a disruption and maybe crashes and fights as we've seen. Now, I was saying first that our house is not that we have a problem as Kenya. We only have problems to some areas as a country. So na mtu anasema kwamba if you leave the 2 or 3 parts, they will destroy the whole country soon. So what should be done actually is that the government should now react. Actually, this could be now the testing line for President William Ruto to prove that if he can restore peace in Sondu and maybe Lamu and other parts, then we will be able as a country to restore peace in Haiti. Yeah.
And, you know, of course, that is an issue that is being questioned out here about the kind of number one security that we have in Kenya. Because we even had Babu, earlier in the day asking the question, polisi wetu ambao wamezoea kupambana na tear gas in Nairobi, especially, or in Kenya, we see the example of what was happening during the maandamano. If they are fit to actually handle people who killed the president of the country. You know, before you get to, I'm trying to imagine the kind of security that the president of the country has. And if you're able to get through to the president of a country, that shows, number one, how powerful a gang is there, you know. And also another issue that came up, okay, the first issue that came up is Kenyan, or is the Kenya police suitable or well-trained or fit for the position to undertake this high-risk mission in Haiti? And the second question was, what guarantee is there to the families as well as this particular group of people that they are not being sacrificed, you know? Or what compensation is going to be given to their families, you know? Because they are going on a mission where, unajua hii mission yenye unajiweka ni kama it's a matter of life and death, you know? Because number one, a major concern, you are going to a place you've never been to before, a place you don't understand, you don't know how it operates, you know? And it's a really new region for you. How are you able to tackle security in that region? The other issue that also was raised was the issue of police brutality. And we saw the same thing happening during the maandamano period. And even from the Azimio press statement, they're asking, we have not solved, or we have not, we have not solved the issue of police brutality in Kenya. So are we trying to like transfer now police brutality to Haiti? Now, do you see like the Kenyan police? You are born in Kenya, so you've seen all these things happen. Are these guys like fit to even handle whatever is happening in Haiti? There are 1,000 police officers.
You know what you need to know. Okay, let me use these terms. For you to speed up the rate of reaction, you need to introduce a catalyst. Now, Kenyans as a country, perhaps we are not even going to send police officers willingly as a nation. We are not ready as a nation to give out our police, but a catalyst has been added here. So United States is giving a catalyst of 15 billion shillings. And we Kenyans, we are known to be lovers of money. And the good book says the love of money is the root of all evil. Now, this money could be a catalyst to us as a nation. That, and before maybe I go there, we have United States being the main cause of the problems that we're seeing in Haiti. They're the ones who, you know, they always want to where countries they have minerals. And once singer sang a song and said, when you see Americans come to your country, they've seen gold. When you see them always coming to a country saying that we come for a visit, we do this and this, they have seen something special. Just as they saw in Haiti in 2004. So the relationships between Haiti and the United States, initially they had a good relationship. But when they found out that they were only getting dam or draws from where they expected gold, there's drug and substance abuse, trafficking in Haiti, being taken to France, people owning large farms of drugs, and tons which are being transported to those superpowers. Now the problem now lies: how are we going to pretend as if we're bringing peace again? Now they want to use us as a nation. Maybe it could be a test and a trap that the president has been given. You want us to assist you govern Kenya, but you want to see, are you able? Go first, bring peace in Haiti. Go and try. As they told us, go and try in Somalia. You know what happened? No exit plan after today. You see what's happening in Lamu? Where does the United States have their headquarters? So they're here in Lamu for securities. But up to today, we're experiencing wars and killings all over. Now, this is what I mean by a catalyst. That the United States is now the catalyst in the reaction between Kenyans and Haiti. Now, when you dive more into this big picture, you will not only see there are 1,000 police officers that are going to be sent, but we need to see the 15 billion. We need to see other relationships between our country and United States. We have the Security Council for UN, of which Kenyans are members. We have 5 permanent members. Why don't they first go and restore peace in Haiti? They want to send a third developing country, Kenya, risking the lives of our Kenyans, to go first and fight with gangs who are well equipped with well and modern sophisticated weapons. We've seen their gang leaders coming out and saying to any country that's going to interfere with them, they'll fight up to the end. So to them, they are saying they want to restore peace themselves. First, by removing those who caused the problem. So who are we as Kenyans? You know, we've seen the experts. We've seen Ekuro Okot. We've seen learned men giving out their views on what should be happening. So as a country, I think it's a very risky thing that we're going to do. Something that we might not enjoy at this end. Yeah.
Most definitely. And of course, another question that even most Kenyans are asking, and it's the same thing I've seen the Azimio la Umoja leader, that is Raila Odinga, ask, is why this move is not being tabled before Parliament for discussions. They're just passing it through. Should it be like mandatory, or should it be like, should this thing go through Parliament before deciding to risk saying 1,000 police officers, which means 1,000 families, which means probably 1,000 kids, or more than 1,000 children in the household? Is it something that should be passed through Parliament?
Yeah, true. It's something that must follow the constitutional way. It's something that you don't wake up. It's something that we call for public participation. We need to have the views of Kenyans. What are their thoughts? So it's something that we need to have public participation. First, the person that you're sending to Haiti is maybe a father or a mother to Kenyans, is a relative to before becoming a police officer. The person is a Kenyan citizen. So we don't want to lose the life of our own in the name of going to a very risky mission. So in as much we might say they are well trained, we need to have a well-detailed public participation, a well-run program to see and even get more views. You know, you can be a head of state, yes. You enjoy every power of the state as a president. You enjoy maybe the majority in the both houses. And for information, we don't have something like parliament in Kenya. So we need to see this thing being done in National Assembly. Now, when all these things are going to be done, at the end of the day, if we willingly as Kenyans now decide to send out our 1,000 police officers, then it will be upon us as a country. We don't want to have a situation whereby we are going to point out fingers and point out we lost this and this because of this and this person. We lost the lives of innocent Kenyans because of maybe the president. He did not want to follow first the constitution, 2, bringing up public participation, and maybe 3, being enticed by billions. We have other ways to source for money. So trying to be given enticements from maybe United States could be something that we will not be able to take in easily.
And obviously, the recommendation was rais asafishe kwake kwanza, sijaribu kufagia kwa wengine na kwake kumemshinda. And of course, we know that the issue on security is a really major concern, not only in Sondu area, but in Kenya generally. And just a word to the people, because most of these wars, especially like the one in Sondu, has been, according to the Azimio Moja team, politicized. But to our dear Kenyans, we keep on telling you that the people who might be the cause of you fighting have places to run to, but you have nowhere to run to. It is all about burial. So just be mindful of your neighbor. And of course, we're looking forward to IEBC settling the boundaries matter that is coming this coming year, that is 2024. Now, speaking of kusafisha nyumba as well as kufagia nyumba, we have seen, of course, the cabinet reshuffles that have happened in Kenya, which have really elicited a lot of different views from wananchi, as well as from different leaders. Now, in case you didn't know, so the president, that is William Ruto, for the first time, that is since assuming office in 2022, made major changes, that is in the cabinet, in the cabinet. And of course, he stated that, or he announced that the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs will now, or is now going to be part of the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, which is headed by Musalia Mudavadi. Now, of course, we saw the likes of Alfred Mutua, who was the former Foreign Affairs Minister or CS, transferred to Tourism and Wildlife Ministry, while the Investment, Trade and Industry CS, that is Moses Kuria, was transferred to the Ministry of Public Service, Performance Delivery and Delivery Management. Now, we also saw other reshuffled ministries. We have appointment of, that is Alice Wahome as the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, as the Minister of Lands. We have Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, and as well as Aisha Jumwa, who has been given the Office of Gender and Affirmative Action as the Minister of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. The likes of Ababu Namambo, of course, retained the sports sector, which was also renamed. But now, the biggest concern for Kenyans, or the biggest question for Kenyans, as well, or the biggest satisfaction for Kenyans, let's start with that, has been the movement of Moses Kuria from the Ministry of Trade and Industry to the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. Do you feel like that is a good move by the president, or is it that the president was worried about the impact of Moses Kuria on Kenya, especially because of the kind of remarks that he makes within Kenya and also outside Kenya.
What I can say is that it's not a lose to Moses, it's not a win to any other person. Because the rules and guidelines that are guiding the cabinet secretaries is first, they are equal. There's no greater cabinet than the other. That's our first thing that we need to understand as Kenyans. And to them, it was only a reshuffle. A reshuffle has nothing to do with a lose and win.
No.
What only happens is when you now change and maybe demoted from a CS, cabinet secretary, maybe to a cabinet assistant secretary, or perhaps being removed totally and someone being replaced. Now that's what we can be calling a win or a lose. But when you have a scenario whereby you've only been reshuffled, we've seen now this being done even in the previous governments. It's being done all over the world. So for you to increase your creativity as a government and maybe to deliver on your promises and manifestos to the Kenyans who voted for you, you keep on trying to balance and see where this one can perform well, where this one cannot perform well. So this is a big department. What only you do is only to maybe to give directions. But much technical jobs and researches, there are people doing it. We have the team of experts who are being employed now. Now, you know, first, we must understand that what the president wants to do first, we must go back to what used to happen initially. So initially, we used to have a session whereby we used to give cabinet secretaries, then they were known as ministers. So you find out that someone is a member of parliament. Beside of you becoming a member of parliament, on top you're being added a minister. Something did not take as a country well because many on you did not perform better because you cannot perform, serve for sure 2 masters. Now in this situation, you find out that the cabinet secretaries now at the moment, they help the government. Actually, they're part of the executive team of the president. Now, first you have the president and deputy president. Now, under them comes the cabinet secretaries. Now, they help the president to deliver. So, about reshuffling and maybe moving Moses Kuria from trade industry and investments to public service and delivery management, it was not a big deal to him. Actually, himself, he came up today saying that he can perform in any ministry. And maybe to dive in and understand who is Moses Kuria in politics, you need sharp people in politics. So from a political science aspect, you need individuals such as Moses Kuria, who will come out and test water for you. They come and speak anything to the members of the public. And from the reactions of the public, he could have tested waters for you as a president. And now you're able to know what you're going to do in the next step. I've seen others talking about Salem Davadi and being added another tocket on the Prime Cabinet Secretary. So we must understand that the president is a very wise president and he sees what will be happening tomorrow that you cannot see today. Now, before maybe you sell your cow, you take it to the marketplace. What do you first do? You must make sure that you feed it well. You clean it up so that it looks healthy before you're being taken to the slaughterhouse. Now, this is what I call, those are my personal views of what I view towards Salem Davadi. First, the president wants to fat him or to fatten him for slaughter. First, the prime cabinet secretary that is having is not in the constitution. We've seen Kenyans have taken a case to court to oppose the move by the president to appoint Salem Davadi. And honestly, chances are that that docket is going to be knocked out. We've seen it before, as we saw with the CAS. So what will be happening here, now Mudavadi will be dropping the prime cabinet, remaining maybe as a foreign. And in the foreign docket, normally what happens here, you only implement the plans of our country in diaspora countries. So it's a program of us as a country that you're taking out to other countries.
No.
Now, mostly, this could be one way, maybe, if that time happens, if other thing will happen, to find out that Davide is well sorted, is well sorted. I think that's what I could say, that there's not much big deal in it. A shuffling, the only big deal will happen maybe when now you are being demoted, being kicked out of that seat, and someone
Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage, as well as the merging of or the transfer of arts from Ababu Namamba's ministry to now Aisha Juma's ministry. First of all, is it a wise move to merge gender as well as gender, culture, arts, and heritage?
Yeah, you know, at times we need to, like, we constitutionally, the constitution gives room for 22 cabinet secretaries. And for you to achieve these numbers, so as to, for you to fall between the rule of law, you need to be using that number. So if now, for instance, we have a different docket for industry, maybe we have only one minister for industry. We have another minister for investments, and we have another minister for trade, and we have another minister for gender, another minister for arts, another minister maybe for foreign. Now, at the end of the day, you find out that the number that you're given out by the constitution, you might not be able to achieve it. Now, how are you going to achieve it? So there are sectors that work together. Remember, they complement each other. So for you to be a minister for education, you must need money from the treasury. For you to be a minister for education, as what we've seen in Sondu, you need security for your students. So you must ask the minister for defense to defend you and to protect Kenyans. Now, merging similar commissions and maybe institutions to be one thing is something of good move. First, it's going to save on money. You are going to employ different people, personnel in one office instead of 3 different ones. And we've seen the gender. We need to try to have a gender balance. And for you to have gender balance, it's good and prudent that you must have a minister who is responsible for that. We need to have our culture as a country. We need to continue with our culture, so that it cannot be taken away by modern cultures, maybe by modern day events. Now, those are things that we need to call upon, that to be prudent. And you see from the sports sector, it seems that it's a sector that is overweight. It's very, very heavy. It's carrying a lot of things. So for you to relieve some of the things and to transfer them to another docket, it's something of good calling, and we expect that. Yeah.
And most definitely, we're looking forward to what's your opinion on the cabinet reshuffles in Kenya. What's your take on the cabinet reshuffle? What's your take on the introduction or the addition of power as well as work to Musalia Mudavadi, as he's been given the docket of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs, as well as being the Prime Cabinet Secretary, which is something that is still being discussed at the Bomas of Kenya, that is for the bipartisan talks. And of course, we're also looking forward to knowing from you, how are you planning to deal with the El Nino in Kenya? Because the Nairobi County government, of course, has come forward to state how it's prepared or how it's preparing for the El Nino. And we're also looking forward towards your opinion as well. How are you preparing for it? As well as what are you doing as a Kenyan to ensure that you maintain or you are part of the security in Kenya? As usual, thank you, Emmanuel, for joining us and for enabling us, of course, to understand 1, 2, 3 things that are happening in Kenya, in the political scene in Kenya, in the leadership scene in Kenya. And most definitely, we're looking forward to having you again over and over and over and over and over again. To our viewers, that is all we have for you right now from the KNA Political Table. And we are saying peace, love, and unity, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening, of course, depending on whatever time you are watching this.